The ProQuest season has come to an end. Week number 4 of ProQuest London has reached its conclusion. So let's take a look at some of the results and what you can expect from this meta going into this weekend's big event. Yeah, that's right. The World Championship in Osaka is starting in like 48 hours-ish. Because that's how time zones work, and Osaka is like a day ahead. At least it is for where I am stateside, so depending on where you are, it's coming very soon. But first, yes, that's right, the holidays are coming up very quickly, and if you want to celebrate with me, I do every year a booster pack advent calendar, specifically Flesh and Blood related. This is year number 4 that I'll be doing it, and every year me and a bunch of my friends and patrons get together, we buy a bunch of these boxes, we parse them out into envelopes, a booster pack from every set that has been released, and you get to open it with me day by day. So if you want to support the channel and you want something really cool to do this holiday season, pick up one of these by going down into the link in the description. It supports me, it allows me to do all of the good things that we get to do here on this YouTube channel, and it also gives you something really fun to do alongside me. And this year, we're even throwing in one of my special playmats alongside of it. So you get 25 packs, you get to support the channel, and you get a free playmat. I mean, come on. How is that not a good deal? And of course, I had to throw the big purple guy up there because everyone's favorite Runeblade, maybe your favorite Runeblade or maybe not, had the most points this weekend. Yeah, if you had that on your bingo card, feel free to check that off because he picked up 11 wins. Viserai Runeblood taking the top spot in the meta. Now, I want to show you what that looks like in comparison with last week, where he was the 4th total point getter behind 2 other Runeblades, and then you compare that to week 2 where he was the 3rd total point getter behind Aurora, and very similar in week number 1 where he was the 5th overall placement. Yeah, he is now number 1, and there's a lot to be said about him being number 1. He has a lot of power available to him. He feels a little bit more insulated to these sort of silver bullet type cards in Warmonger's Diplomacy, which is very popular right now, based on his new build compared to what he used to be, and the fact that he can go toe-to-toe with other aggro decks and does really well into Enigma, in my opinion, means that he deserves one of those top spots. Now, right behind him is New Alluring Desire with 10 wins as well, and we talked about this last week. If the meta is Enigma sets the bar and all the Runeblades destroy Enigma, crushing the bar, New preys on the Runeblades, and that's kind of what we see here. New is very powerful, very potent into a meta that is full of aggro decks, and this is a meta that's full of aggro decks that all have pretty similar in some way, shape, or form matchup spreads. They just kind of target slightly different heroes and slightly different game plans, but she's just good across the board into that style of meta. She can punish decks that aren't as well equipped to block things out. Right behind her, of course, is the hero that has been there all along, and that is Aurora Shooting Star with another 7 wins. This is her lowest point getting of the month, essentially, and of the entire season for ProQuest leading into London. I do want to point this out that this weekend was the lowest total events that were actually run compared to all of the other weeks as well. So this had like 70 something events compared to like 100 or 90 events. So there were less points to go around, and we'll take a look at what this actually means when you compare this to the other weeks here in a moment with a spreadsheet. But Florian right tied alongside of Aurora. That means 3 Runeblades in the top 4 placements, which is pretty crazy because Enigma fell. It barely fell all the way to 5th place, tied with Azalea for 6 wins. Now, Dash.io, I have to say, I was wrong about Dash.io. I thought she would come out of the gate and to just go straight to the top over the next, the first 2 weeks of this event. And it could be that she is still incredibly powerful and deserving of one of the 2 top spots, or maybe 3 top spots, like I thought she would be. As it stands right now, in the final week of ProQuest season, it looks like people gravitated towards either decks they already knew, or decks that they felt were more consistent and more powerful overall. There's a lot of talk right now with Dash.io being a fatigable and a disruptible type hero, particularly with a card like Warmonger's Diplomacy. And if that's the case, if she is being very targeted and is easily targeted, then she could be just finding a nice, easy spot in the meta, which would honestly be the best case scenario for such a great product like an Armory deck built around her, because you don't want that product to basically just go and break a hero. And it's looking, based on this and last week's results, and hopefully what we see in Worlds, that she is not going to just break out and just immediately ascend to complete S tier without any recourse or any challenge. Right behind her is my dark horse pick for this meta, that is Zen, Tamer of Purpose. In the same way that New is a disruptive answer to all the Rune Blades, Zen is an aggressive answer with silver bullet options into all the Rune Blades, while still being able to put down Enigma fairly comfortably. And that is an incredibly powerful spot. If I were playing in the World Championships, I would be taking Zen, Tamer of Purpose. And that's like, I probably could dedicate an entire video just to talking about what heroes I expect to see. Maybe I will, I don't know. But Zen is my pick for heroes that I think can do incredibly well and win the entire event. If I had to put money on it, I would believe it would be Zen. Now, the smart money would probably be on like an Aurora or a Viserai taking it down, because those are going to be more highly represented than Zen. But I think if you're looking at a hero that has all the tools available to them in this meta and really has like a meta sort of tailor-made for them, Zen's kind of there. Zen is kind of it. Now, only 3 wins on the weekend means that he's sort of towards the bottom. Riptide, KO, and Bravo Showstopper, of all things, all ended up with 2 wins respectively, alongside of Sir Bolton, and can't forget Sir Bolton, Breaker of Dawn, and then a smattering of other heroes at the bottom, including Kano, Victor, Prism, Dorinthia, Vincent, Acilio gets another win, and Dash, Inventor Extraordinaire, still chugging along and sticking around, not hitting the old LL mark yet. Now, let's take a look at a graph to really show you what these numbers mean with a smaller overall pool of events. So here are the results for all 4 weeks, and this is sorted by week 4 of the events that we see. All 4 weeks of data compressed into one simple graphic that we can take a look at together. Viserai, of course, sitting at the top, meaning he gobbled up 15.7% of the total wins, of which there were only 70. If I scroll down, you can see there were only 70 events this week. A total of 406 events were noted on those graphics that we just showed. The largest number of events were played on that week number 3 at 129 events, and 70 took place this past weekend. Now, looking at the data for the weekend, the win share, the win percentage makes a ton of sense compared to, just like how this would all play out. But where we really want to take a look is if we sort this by the final column, the total win percentages across everything. And if we sort everything by the total win percentages, Aurora and Enigma take the top 2 spots. Aurora and Enigma have the exact same amount of wins across all 4 weeks, with 68 wins apiece. They each gobbled up an equal 16.7% of the win share across all events. Now, what does that mean? These 2 heroes are the clearly most played and winningest heroes across, well, I shouldn't say most played, but they are the winningest heroes across all 4 weeks in this current meta. But right behind them, and one that I think some people would have guessed, but maybe not as many, is Viserai. Viserai sits right behind them with a smattering of wins. There's a very large drop-off between Aurora Enigma, sitting there at the top, and Viserai, going from 68 to 44%. And right behind him is New and Florian. Surprisingly, Florian, I was actually very surprised by Florian doing so well this season, but both with 40 wins apiece. And then there's Azalea, and Dash.io separates another, sort of big tier and drop off. But these are the heroes that I think a lot of players are looking at for this upcoming World Championship. And honestly, if I'm putting numbers by it, I'm expecting Aurora to be the most represented deck. I'm expecting Enigma to be one of the most represented decks, like 1 and 2 respectively. And maybe I get it backwards. Maybe it's Enigma gets the most representation, which to me seems like a bad idea. But there's enough Enigma players out there that kind of like her. So, and she can just kind of auto win some things if she can find Miragai. So maybe that's the answer. But I think Viserai deserves heavy play. As you can see, he has the most wins after both of those heroes are done and dusted, and he could just be the better of the two Rune Blades if we're looking at Aurora versus Viserai, with Florian, bringing up the rear. Really, I should say Vincent's kind of bringing up the rear, but Florian is the 3rd place finisher in Rune Blades. Again, I go back to where is he, Zen? I go back to Zen, who's sitting kind of at a measly 14 wins across the board. I very much believe in Zen and his ability to adapt and tackle the meta. He just plays above rate consistently. He can block incredibly well. Disruptive things that hit him in the past don't really hit him. He can play silver bullet disruptive cards. He's good playing blues and just getting super value out of them. And he has the access to a Zen State token whenever you want, which is fantastic against any aggressive deck. And of course, finally, let's take one last look at this ProQuest season's results as far as the Living Legend leaderboard is concerned. Taking a look, Dash continues to limp along, not quite crossing the finish line anytime soon. Slow and Steady may win the race, but Viserai has decided to kick things into high gear with 245 points. I mean, literally just a win from World Championship means that he goes into the 880 and is looking to hit the Living Legend leaderboard sooner perhaps than Azalea or Dash IE or even Phi, passing all of them up, which is so crazy. Such a fantastic story, because Viserai has long since been one of those heroes that just literally never moved the needle in the classic constructed metagame, just never picked up wins. It was exceedingly difficult for him to pick up Living Legend points after, Skeleton rotation and things like that. He just floundered in relative obscurity for so long, and just the juice and the power from this set has set him on a trajectory to really cross the finish line faster than any of these heroes possibly could, which is incredibly exciting and also a little sad if you're a big fan of Viserai. Viserai for me was the first hero, specifically in Blitz, but the first hero that I really felt drawn to playing competitively. I played an OTK version of Viserai and I loved it back then, so it would be a little bittersweet to see him go. I'm sure it would be that way for a variety of people as well. Sound off in a comment below if you're a big Viserai enjoyer and how you feel about his movements. The other hero, and the hero I think that everyone should be looking at, is Enigma. 425 points means that sometimes a hero that's pretty good but is being completely held down by a metagame will just rise up and gobble up those points. And that's exactly what Enigma has done here. 425 points in a singular season, basically all of the points that she's earned, which is pretty incredible. That being said, I'm not too worried about her rotating anytime soon. She would have to win Worlds and then just go another just dominant season without any sort of tweaks to the metagame, including a whole new set for her to actually see move on into the Living Legend status. Aurora also looking pretty strong and pretty solid. Florian down here at 200 points in a singular season is pretty solid. New sitting at 575. The best of the assassins is at 575, and yes, passed up Azuri Switchblade in the process, who's sitting at 405 points. And I do it every single time, but I have to say, if I'm picking a hero and encouraging you to try out a hero that you want to hold on to for a long time that could still be good and viable, look at Acilio. Acilio sitting there at the bottom, 25 points. But if we go back to that spreadsheet, you would see 1 or 2 consistent wins and a whole bunch of people saying they really enjoy the deck. And I am one of those people. I really enjoy the hero. I really enjoy the deck. It's a fantastic experience to play the hero. So if you're looking for someone that feels a little bit like an Aurora, that feels a little bit more, like thematic, in that you're playing all of these attacks and then firing some big spell, he is a fantastic option. There's nothing like playing Protoss, and that's what you can do with Acilio. So the run up to Worlds is fast approaching. Let me know what you think you're going to expect and what you're going to see at the World Championship this coming weekend. Sound off in a comment below with how you think it's all going to play out, and I will give you my impressions and my predictions in a couple of videos. Tomorrow, though, I'm going to tell you what I think the set is going to be spoiled. What is the next set of Flesh and Blood? I have my opinions. I've given it thought, and I will tell you what I think tomorrow. So if you want to watch that video, make sure you press the button and make the number go slightly higher. I think they say ring the bell as well. I don't know if that works. You can try it. You can see if ringing the bell actually functions. But of course, everybody knows pressing the button definitely works, because we like numbers going to another number. As always, thanks for watching.